What's up everyone, it's Tyler, hope you're doing well. Today we are talking about the Sony a6300. Okay, so the Sony a6300, I've had it since March or April of 2016. So in that 2 years, I've used this thing from semi-professional shoots to my YouTube content, my YouTube vlogs. I've done portraiture and family photos and all this stuff. So I've kind of run the gambit with this camera. I've kind of put it through its paces. So after 2 years, here are my thoughts. The first thing is the price. So on the used market right now, you can pick these things up for right around $600. Usually it'll come with a couple extra batteries and usually the kit lens or something like that. So for $600-700, you're getting a pretty stinking good camera for that price. So the video features of the camera, that's the main reason why I picked it up. I'm more of a video guy than I am a photo guy. I love doing both, but for me, video, I just love doing video a whole lot more. 4K, that was one of the big selling points for me. I really wanted to have a 4K camera again. I had the Blackmagic Ursa Mini 4K, and I'll link a video up here. And I also wanted the autofocus. All the other stuff was kind of a bonus. So it has S-Log 2 and S-Log 3 and Cine 4. I find myself using Cine 4 more often than not nowadays, but in a lot of my earlier vlogs I was shooting, I think it was S-Log 2 or maybe S-Log 3, and I would just throw a LUT on it, or lookup table, kind of give the look that I want, and export it, and I was good to go. So it also has some features that more higher end cameras have. So what I'm referring to are zebras and focus peaking. So zebras basically tells you what bright areas are being overexposed that you can't see you won't be able to retain any of the information left. So I'll give you an example so you can see my face right here. And on this side, since I've got the ISO bumped way up, you can see that on my face there's a bunch of lines, black and white lines. What that's telling you is on this camera right now, my face would be way radioactive looking and overexposed, and you wouldn't be able to get that back in post-processing. It also has an audio input. So right here it has an audio jack, and so you can plug in a mic like this, the Shure, or this is actually a Rode Video Mic Me, the cell phone version, and I just got this little adapter cable, and you can get pretty decent audio out of this microphone. And although you don't have a headphone jack, you do have audio meters, so you can monitor your audio this way. You just won't be able to obviously hear it. Okay, the next thing I'd like to talk about are the photo features of the camera. So I didn't buy this as to use primarily for photography. I bought it primarily for videography use. But there are quite a few features about this camera that I do like from a photo side. The first thing is the dynamic range. It actually has a pretty stinking good dynamic range. I can't remember what the official spec is, but compared to the 60D, I was able to retain a lot of highlights and pull a lot of shadows out when I shot in RAW. Really, I mean, for landscape and stuff like that, it's pretty amazing. You can pull, get a nice high dynamic range shot without having to bracket photos and stuff like that. So the other thing I really like about this camera is this guy, the electronic viewfinder, the EVF. So this applies to both video and photography, obviously, but basically this guy right here is when you put your eye up to it, you can see that's actually a screen in there. That's an actual OLED screen or something. The benefit of that is, if you're in a really dark environment or really bright environment and it's hard to see the screen, put your eye up to it, and when you have it up, you're able to see basically what your photo is going to look like or what your video is going to look like right then and there, as opposed to a DSLR. If you're in a really dark environment, it's kind of hard to see what your photo is going to turn out like without snapping a photo and checking your exposure that way. From a video standpoint, the other benefit of having this EVF is when you put it up to your eye, you're actually giving a third point of contact for stabilization. So the other reason why I really love this camera is this guy right here. this little flash, this little like R2D2 looking flash thingy. What I like to do when I'm indoors, especially, you know, with a ceiling that's white, I like to bend this flash back. And what this lets me do is it lets me bounce the flash off the ceiling. Basically what it does is it spreads the light out over a large area and basically diffuses the light and essentially turns the ceiling into a giant softbox. So the kit lens that comes with this camera, this is the 16-50. I absolutely adore this lens, and quite frankly, for me, I find this to be more than adequate for 99% of the shots. For the most part, this lens is awesome. I love it, and I don't bring anything else. I just have this, and then your good old camera strap, a little gift from the wife, and I'll take this on, you know, hikes and fishing, whatever, because it's so light, it's awesome. And that brings me to my last point about this camera. It is so small, it is so compact, it is light, it's tough. It's just such a versatile travel camera. Now, with that being said, there are a few things that I don't like about this camera. One being it eats these like crazy. The other thing is this camera does tend to overheat a lot. It is kind of annoying to have your camera shut off when you're in the middle of a vlog, and there's nothing you can do about it. So they did make a firmware update to fix it, but I think they just kind of changed the threshold of it. Basically lets you run it longer. I don't know if that's actually a fix. In fact, it's probably in the long run worse for the camera. The other thing is the 1080p video, just your standard 24 or 30p video. It doesn't look all that great. It's super soft. The 4K is awesome. It's a 6K image downscaled to 4K, but for some reason they didn't do that for the 1080p. I'm not sure why. So do I recommend in 2018? 100%. I would recommend this camera over pretty much any other camera in this arena that shoots 4K, has great form factor, super small. I think the main takeaway from this camera is the price point for all the features that you get with this camera. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you found it somewhat informative. If you did, give it a thumbs up, hit that like button. You can dislike it too if you didn't like it, you know, I appreciate that feedback too. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so below. I really appreciate it. It always gets me excited to see that number creep up one at a time. If you have a Sony camera, if you have the a6300 or 6500, leave a comment below. Tell me what your favorite features are. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.